Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 3 of our Airsoft build series, and in this episode I'm going to be showing you how to install a tight bore barrel and an upgraded hop-up. So let's hop right into it. Alright, before we get started disassembling the gun to install the barrel, let's talk about why you would want to upgrade your barrel in the first place. Stock airsoft barrels are usually between 6.05 to 6.08 millimeters in diameter, and your BB is 6 millimeters, so there's a decent bit of play for your BB when you fire it to potentially bounce around and move around before it exits the barrel, so they're not the best for accuracy. A tight bore barrel will minimize the movement of your BB, so it should increase accuracy. It also lets less air escape around the BB when you fire it, so it will increase your FPS by a little, which is why before you mess with upgrading springs to get yourself to your desired FPS, you need to dial in your barrel and then adjust from there. Otherwise, you could upgrade your spring, get it right at the 400 mark, which is what we're shooting for this guy, and then throw in a different barrel and be shooting too hard for your field and have to change your spring again. So, barrel first, then spring. The barrel we're going to be using today I'm trying to test out a budget-friendly option for a tight bore and hop-up. So I found this Unicorn Airsoft kit, which is a 310 millimeter barrel. I'll talk about that in a minute. And it's a 6.03 millimeter barrel, so it's tighter than the stock one. And it comes with a hop-up, and both of these together, this was $30. So pretty much as cheap as you can get in, and it had good reviews online. I have no idea. I've never used one of these for myself, so I don't know if it's good. I'll find out. But for 30 bucks, upgrading your hop-up and barrel, you can't really beat that. I think the stock barrel in this is around 280 millimeters. I'm going to have to pull it out and measure it to confirm that. But with the external upgrades, this Gauss rifle kit, according to my research online, which we'll see how accurate that actually is, I should be able to fit a 310 millimeter barrel with no issues without it sticking out the front. Okay, let's get into this. Let's disassemble the gun and get that barrel out of there. So before I modified this gun, it was super easy to remove the barrel. All you had to do was pull out the rear body pin, and then it would pivot down and you could just pull the barrel out. But since I went and put all these external mods on it, I can't do that anymore. I can no longer do that with this body kit because the foregrip will hit the mag well, so it can no longer pivot down, so I have to remove both body pins and lower it. But to do that, I have to disassemble the stock from the upper rail. So let's start with that. Now, I will say a lot of these airsoft guns are different in how they disassemble. So check your user guide or find another video for your specific one if you don't know how to do it. But for mine, normally you just have to pull that rear body pin and pivot it down, which makes it a lot easier. So you might want to dial in your barrel. No, I still needed to put this kit on to make sure the length of the barrel was correct. So it's just an annoying thing that I no longer easy swap. So I'm going to remove these 4 screws. Once I have those out, we should be able to pop out our pins. So to pop out the pins, just get something to press them out with. I'll just use this guy and a hammer. Pop them out. There we go. And now I can remove them from the other side. The rear body pin is pretty normal like you'd expect, but my front body pin has a flat side, so it will only go in a certain direction, and that makes it easy to know which pin goes where. Alright, now that those are pulled out, we can drop our lower receiver. There we go. Alright, Now that we have those separated, a lower receiver in stock there, we can set out of the way. And here we have the upper. And on the inside of the upper is our barrel and hop-up unit. You just have to grab that and slide it out. It'll pop right out the back. And that is what we're looking for. Let's put the upper up out of the way now. So, this is our barrel and hop-up unit. As you can see, well, let's go ahead and pull out the new barrel so we can compare. Open this up. This is the first time I'm pulling this out, so I haven't even really looked at it before. Okay. As you can see, a little bit longer barrel on there. Once I get this barrel removed from the hop-up unit, I will measure it and tell you exactly how long it was. So we are getting a longer barrel and a tighter bore barrel on this guy. This spring on the front of your hop-up is pretty important, so if that falls off, don't lose it. That keeps your hop-up aligned with your gearbox and everything. So you do need that, don't lose it. Here we have our hop-up and bucking. Put that over there. Okay, to disassemble your hop-up, or to remove your barrel from your hop-up, it's pretty easy. There's a collar around the bottom here. I'm probably just going to use my fingernails or a flathead, and you can pop that off. It sometimes does like to shoot out, so don't lose that. You need that little C-collar. It's what clamps your barrel in place. Now, I should have done this a second ago actually. Before you try and remove your barrel from the hop-up unit, you need to make sure that your hop-up is completely off. So if you look down your barrel and you can see the hop-up protruding from the top, I'm actually going to turn this all the way on to see if I can get it on camera. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do this. But in there, if you can see at the top, there's a little flat spot. That's your hop-up, and when the BB goes through, it'll hit the top of the BB and put backspin on it. And that's what a hop-up unit does, because the backspin will raise the BB, and you adjust it on how much you want it to raise the BB, so you get longer range. So you want to make sure that your hop-up unit is all the way off, which on this one, this is an old school style hop-up unit. A lot of them have a dial on the back that rotates in the opposite direction of this, but if you rotate this one all the way to the back, that should be turning the hop-up all the way off. Because if you have the hop-up nub protruding through the barrel, it's going to be really hard to remove. Now that we've done that, we should be able to just spin or twist the hop-up just a little bit to break it loose is what I normally do, and then just pull backwards while removing the unit. Be gentle, try not to tear your current hop-up. We are replacing it, so it wouldn't really matter here, but it is nice to try not to destroy what you already have. Okay, there is this little collar or ring. A lot of the times when you pull the barrel out in the first place, it will kind of slide forward, and this centers your barrel inside of your hop-up, so you don't want to lose that. I am going to remove it so that actually, we're not using this barrel, and I have a new one with the other, so you don't lose it. Me, doesn't really matter to me right now. This is our, oh, that is disgusting. This is our hop-up bucking. This is our hop-up bucking. It's seen better days. You can tell that this is a 10-plus-year-old airsoft gun and has gotten a lot of use. That thing is filthy. Oh man, good thing we're replacing this. So, I'm going to go ahead and set that to the side. Our hop-up unit is clear. We do need to remove the nub as well, which is sitting up in here, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's measure this barrel See how long it is. This is a 270 millimeter barrel, so we're gaining 40 millimeters with the new barrel. So, decent amount of length gained, and it is tighter bore. Alright, let's get into putting the bucking on this barrel. In our little bag we have, come on, we have our new hop-up bucking, we have our nub, and that centering collar. So, if you look at your barrel on what is the top side when it's in the rifle, there's a groove along that side opposite. No, that'll be the bottom side. Yeah, on the bottom side, there is that groove because the hop-up pushes down, the nub pushes down through that slot. So, in your bucking, there is, hopefully you can see it, there's a little notch that matches up with that, so you can only put it in that direction, which will line up your hop-up properly. So we're going to press that on, making sure it goes all the way down and seats properly. Okay. There we go. That is all seated. If I press down, I can see, I have no clue. I have no idea if y'all will be able to see through there, but it located properly. It won't spin now. It is all the way set. I'm going to go ahead and put that locating ring on the front for when I press it on. But first, before we slide that back into our hop-up unit, I have to replace the nub. Alright, let's replace that nub now. Unfortunately, while moving this around, my original nub has fallen out. It's just a small little circular piece of rubber, and that's what the little lever arm on top presses down on to push into your hop-up. And this is a pretty standard little nub, but the new one is actually a flat nub. You can see, let's not lose that trying to show the camera. If you can see, it has the round part but a flat part on the bottom, so that round part will go up into the little press down arm and the flat part will be pushing on the bucking itself, and it gives you a little bit better contact patch, which should increase your accuracy and precision. So let's get this arm off. What we need to do is there are the 3 adjustment gears on the side. We need to remove all of those. The large one that you adjust while in the gun has a screw, and then the other 2 have just little retaining collars, and we can pop those off, one on that side and one on this side. We can pop those off with a flathead. So let's start by removing the adjustment wheel, the Phillips head screw. There we go. Make sure we don't lose that. And you can go ahead and pull that gear off and set it somewhere where you won't lose it. Now for the next gear, we're going to pop that off with a little flathead. And just make sure, be easy and get that retaining collar off. Put that out of the way. You definitely don't want to lose that. And then we can remove that gear as well. Set it up out of the way. And get the last one. I might have to use my fingernails for this one. Or something nice and thin to get under there. Bear with me. Fine. We'll use a knife. Okay, now that I have that up, I can get my screwdriver under there now. There we go. And pull that off. Set it to the side, and we can push out from the back that last gear. And then our holding it like this, your nub can fall out. So when we're installing this, we're going to be holding the unit upside down so it doesn't fall out. This is your little adjustment arm. That spring is very important. And in this little concave area is where your normal nub sits. So we're going to take the rounded part of our new flat nub and set it in there so that we'll be pushing the flat part down. Then we're going to rotate it up. Oh. Rotate it up to where it sits properly. Make sure the spring is pressed in. Look in there and make sure it's in there. It is. What you can do now is install your barrel so that it can't fall out. So I'm going to do that now while holding this upside down. I'm not going to be pressing on the arm at all, so it's actually going to be out of the way. But I'm going to take my barrel, making sure I have it oriented properly, which find that line that the bucking slid into, and you're going to be putting that down, so up right now. And we're going to slide that in, making sure it doesn't snag on anything. Going to slide the retaining collar from earlier. On the inside you'll see little protruding parts. You probably can't see it on camera, but they will slot into the sides of the barrel on here, so orient them properly. On mine it's towards the hop up. So we'll put it in just like that and clip it down, rock it back and forth a little bit to make sure it's on. And that is nice and secure. We'll slide that centering ring on there, and the barrel is installed, the nub is still in there, and now I can flip it over and it won't fall out so that I can put back in all of our gears. So we're going to take that first one, we're going to press down on the arm so that we can line it up on its hole, press it through, it's in there, and it will hold itself now. You can release the arm, and then we can put back in the middle gear. Make sure our teeth are lined up. And the adjustment wheel, we can press that down. It'll hold the other two in place. We can take our screw and screw it back in. Okay, that's nice and back on, and then we're going to take our little retainers, and you can just press those back on with your fingernails or use that screwdriver. Press them back on. And voila, we are done. That is a barrel replacement, a hop-up replacement, and nub replacement. Very easy. This is a great beginner modification. Once you've tried all the external mods, which are the easiest, going to this is going to give you good performance benefits, or so I think, because I've used barrels like this and I put them in all of my guns, and this is usually the first thing I do. We'll see how much this one actually benefits us in testing, but that is a super simple, very cheap, easy mod. Barrel is on, we have a longer barrel, a tighter bore barrel, a better hop up, and a better nub, all for 30 bucks and very little work. So now all we have to do is slide our barrel and hop up unit back into our upper. Gotta align it properly. There we go. It's set. I always like to give a little press down on the entire thing to make sure that spring is working. It's good. Oh, yay! Look at that. It sticks out. Love it. Thanks, Internet. So we do have a protruding barrel here, but luckily this kit comes with a threaded external barrel, so I can get a little mock suppressor or flash hider or something that I'll put on there that'll cover that up. But once again, misled by the internet on buying products. I am glad that I got a 310mm barrel though. I just have to get a little mock suppressor or something to put on there, a cool looking flash hider. If you have any recommendations, put them in the comments. What do you think would look cool on this? Let me know, and I might get it. Okay, now that that's in there, we just have to put our lower back on. It's just like taking it off. Make sure everything lines up properly. Stop the front. There we go. Make sure it seats. And then we're going to press back in our bobby pins. The D-shaped one goes on the front on mine. Stubborn. There we go. And the regular one goes on the back. Make sure that's... Oh, gotta press you down. There you go. Slide that in. And that's it. Back together. Now we just have those 4 screws on the stock, and we are ready to go. I'm going to throw those back in, and then I think we're going to take this out and do some testing. So I'll see you in a minute. Alright, we're all set up to do our test firing. I have broken in the hop-up a little bit. You will need to do that with every new hop-up, so I put about a magazine of BBs through it while dialing it in. The other thing is I haven't adjusted my optics since last time. I'm going to see how accurate it is based off of the other barrel versus this one. So we're not looking for bullseyes anyway, we're just looking for a nice tight grouping, so hopefully we hit the target. If we don't, I'll be reshooting this and you'll never see it. So on this one, we're going to be doing just like we did last time, 10 shots at the target and see how accurate we can get. So here we go. Alright, let's go see how I did. Alright, I've done some more adjustment on the optic. We should be close enough on target to get a good reading now. So let's put 10 more downrange. Alright, that should do it. Alright, we're back from testing and the results are in. Just to remind everybody, here is our original stock target. Our farthest grouping was 173 millimeters. And with the $30 Unicorn tight bore barrel and hop-up, we went from 173 to 45. That grouping is so tight, look at that. Such a tight grouping, that is insane. Man, for 30 bucks and an easy install like that, that is probably the best performance mod you can do, is an upgraded barrel and hop-up. That's ridiculous how much better that is. Oh man, and for 30 bucks, crazy performance gain. I haven't been able to do a lot of field testing and I guess duration testing, durability on this barrel, but initial performance, fantastic. Totally worth the $30 for both the barrel and hop-up. Now, I am going to admit to y'all that is not the only barrel that I bought. I definitely got the budget end and the expensive end so that I could compare them and see if it's worth spending more money for a more expensive product, and does it really outperform the cheap one? In the next video, I'll be putting a very expensive barrel and hop-up into this rifle and seeing if we do get the performance for significantly more money, or if you should stick with the budget and take that huge performance leap just from that. As I said before, I do need to get something to attach to the front of here to cover up that barrel. You definitely don't want to play with your inner barrel sticking out like that. Very dangerous for your gun. This is a 14mm counterclockwise barrel thread, just like most of the M4s, so if you have a suggestion for what I should put on the front of this, whether it be a short mock suppressor or a cool looking flash hider, something along those lines, please post it down in the comments. If you post something I like, I'll definitely pick it up and put it onto the gun. Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying this series, and I'm looking forward to doing more mods and testing them out to see what's worthwhile. Please let me know how you're enjoying this down in the comments. A subscription would really help. And as always, I'm Travis, and I'll see you next time.